Welcome back, you guys. I'm EFC, this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing back another News Daily video. Now for today's video, I'll be speaking about the latest reports coming out from ESPN in regards to Ben Chilwell and Hakim Ziyech, and then I'll be speaking about the latest surrounding Pedro, Giroud, Tariq Lamptey, and even Dries Mertens. So there is going to be a lot to talk about in today's video, but before I get into anything, smash that like button if you like today's video, help me get over 1,500 likes, and on that point we get straight in with things, starting with the first story for today, and that's in regards to what ESPN had to say about us and our summer transfer plans. And of course, you guys, before I move on to the next story, today's video is brought to you by the One Football app, as I'm constantly stressing and saying every single time, it's the best companion app to have on the market. It is. I use the One Football app every single day. It's handy, it's convenient, it's a quick source to get the news and information that I want quickly. What you guys waiting for? You'll find links below in the description. Now we get into things, and as ESPN state, we are planning a massive overhaul in the summer. I don't really think that's really news for any of us. That's all things that we all know by now. And the two main targets are Ben and Hakim Ziyech. Now when it comes to Ben, that's not really news at all in that sense. We know that the player has a strong interest to sign for us. I told you guys that personally. Of course, all the English players talk is naturally going to happen, and everyone's really excited about the project happening at the club right now, and Ben would like to play for us. So honestly, it's down to him. If he steps up his performances, if he finds a new level, then hopefully, yeah, he could be an easy signing to make. But maybe as fans as well, maybe we have to tell ourselves, should we be expecting finished article results from Ben? Now, a lot of us like to look at the price tag, and we know that he might cost up to £60 million, which is a ton of money. But with modern day football, with just how inflated the market is, with how much money is in the game, should us as fans really care about the money our club spends? I don't think so, and it's starting to get to a point where, let's say hypothetically we did sign Ben and his first season was mediocre. Should we use that price tag against him? I don't think so, and I really think that the club have some long-term vision in the player. They plan on developing his game and letting him get better, and that could work, because honestly, how many fullbacks under the age of 23 are world class? It rarely happens. It tends to be a position where players need a lot more experience to play there to really acclimatize and get used to all the details of playing in that role. If you're asking me, I feel like our money could be used better looking at other left back targets over Ben. But if worse came to worse and he was signed, am I going to be livid and start fuming and go to Stamford Bridge and call for Marina's heads? No, that's not going to happen. I'd accept it and I'd let the player just grow. Now when it comes to Hakim Ziyech, however, this is really interesting because in that ESPN article, there was no real strong valid claims to really back up the story. I don't understand where the Ziyech interest came from. Ziyech's been a player that we've had long-term interest in for a while now. Could they just be bringing up that story again for that reason? Who knows? But the minute you're being linked with Ziyech, it gets you thinking, you guys, and it gets you thinking about how we could actually use him. Now, the amazing thing about Ziyech is that he's so comfortable playing in so many different positions. On the left, the right, further up in midfield, everywhere. He is that type of player, he has those types of qualities, and if Ziyech was signed, maybe he would be competition to Mount, and in that sense become our Kevin De Bruyne. Because stylistically, and I know I'm always using that word stylistically, what can I say? I like it. It's my words, stylistically. But anyway, stylistically, I feel like they are quite similar with De Bruyne and Ziyech. They're the type of players that like to perform a lot of, low XG efforts from outside the box. These guys are dead ball specialists. They can put in any type of delivery anywhere. If you're asking me though, Kevin De Bruyne is a better player because he's more consistent and his quality is more consistent. Ziyech is that type of guy where he will take a long shot 10 times. It will go in once, and once it does, that's what you remember the player for. So in that sense, he can be a little bit frustrating, but I think due to his overwhelming qualities, that left foot, his ability to press, the flexibility of the roles he can play in as well, I think that Ziyech could be a very interesting player to sign. I think with his buyout clause, it's not too high. I think it's worth around, 25 to 40 million, somewhere along that range. He complements the setup and the team. He's a dead ball specialist, and he's a very, very creative player. So I think it's definitely a positive that we are being linked with players like this. It's always great news to hear, you guys, but in the comment section below, give me your thoughts and opinions. How have you taken this news? What do you think on Ziyech? What do you think on Ben? If you don't like these guys, tell me your alternative. Sell to me why you think your alternative would be better for the club and for the team and the system and everything. Let me know below. And on that point, you guys, we do move on to the second story for today, and that's in regards to Tariq Lamptey and a potential move to Nice. Now, the Daily Mail are reporting that Nice have put out a pre-contract offer to Tariq Lamptey, and it's up to the player to decide whether to accept that offer from Nice or to stay with the club. Now, I've spoken about Tariq over the months, and I've told you about the interest out from Ligue 1. Paris Saint-Germain and Nice are the two clubs making the biggest efforts to try and sign the player on a pre-contract agreement, and it's currently Nice who are doing the most, being very aggressive to try and sign Tariq so he's ready for next season. So the question is, why is this happening? Why isn't Tariq signing a new contract with us? Could he potentially leave? And I'm here to talk about and hypothesize what could be happening right now. Now, with Tariq, we have to see it from the player's perspective. He's looking at his position. He's looking at the competition in front of him. Reece James, Aspilicueta, with Reece being maybe a year older than him as well and having really the better long-term future at the club, Tariq might be thinking, if I decide to stay here, am I going to get that game time I need? Because for my age right now, I need consistent game time at this level to really fulfill my potential. And at Nice, well, Nice could be that perfect opportunity because Nice are starting to make a name for themselves in producing some really excellent fullbacks that go for a lot of money. If you're Tariq, you've seen the likes of Dalbert, you've seen the likes of Pereira, you've seen the likes of Etal as well, and Tariq could be next in line on that conveyor belt. And if you're asking me, it could be the best solution for the player because of the league, the tactics in which Patrick Vieira instills in the team as well, the quality of Ligue 1. Nice could even get European football for next season as well. So Tariq could be going to a very good situation where if he's thinking of the long term, if he builds his craft in Ligue 1 for the next few years, then decides about his future later on, that could put the player in the best possible scenario until he's ready for future moves later down the line. And that could work out in our favours if Tariq decides to sign for us in the future. Now, of course, you guys, I'm only hypothesizing what could be happening right now. It's not as if Tariq has actually signed this pre-contract agreement. It's only currently on the table. So during this time, anything can happen. He could get more game time. Lampard could really persuade him to sign for us. Who knows? But if you're asking me, based on the story that came out today, I think for Tariq, it would make more sense for him to really test himself abroad, build that experience, play high-level football for the next 2-3 seasons. By the time you're 22, 23, boom, it's like no time's even passed and you've become an even more complete and better player for it. But you guys, on that point, we do move on to the third story for today, and that's in regards to Pedro and another club being interested to sign the player. I really don't understand what clubs are seeing in Pedro right now. They clearly aren't going to our games to watch him play, because if that was the case, I think half these clubs would show no interest literally the very next day, you guys. But it seems like Roma now are the next club interested in trying to sign Pedro in this window. Unfortunately, they weren't able to sign Politano from Inter Milan. When it comes to Serie A and transfer dealings, I really just don't understand it. If you're a player, you are literally expendable as hell. Clubs will swap you left, right and centre if it means they get the best deal out of it. I don't understand why this guy's left Inter to sign for Napoli, but now that that's happened, it seems like Roma are in the market to sign a right winger, and they're now looking at Pedro. And this could make a lot of sense because Pedro now, with his contract expiring in the summer, if a club wants to sign him right now, he's barely going to cost them any money at all. And if Pedro goes as well, we take him off the wage bill. Pedro earns quite a bit of money playing for us, and if we can take him off, that's only going to boost our chances, you guys, for the summer when it comes to looking at your Ziyechs, your Bens, your Sanchos, all these dons. So it's a worthwhile sacrifice. You guys heard my thoughts and opinions in yesterday's video. I don't feel like I can really say anything more when it comes to Pedro other than maybe hurry up and leave. And of course, good luck in the future. And you guys, we now move on to another player who just doesn't want to leave. I don't know what's happening right now. His name's Olivier Giroud, and it's looking like he could be going to Tottenham instead of Inter. Now, what's actually happening with this story is that Inter Milan are now turning their attentions back to Llorente. Now, I find this a bit weird because they actually turned to the player a few days ago. They got rejected because Napoli wants some striker reinforcements in those areas, and Llorente is good at that. But, you know, Conte's love for Llorente, I don't know what it is about the guy. I don't know why Conte is in so much infatuation with the player, but it's a love that can't die, it seems. And it seems like he's now coming back again, making like, what, the third, fourth, fifth attempt to sign this player. For the sake of Conte, I'm hoping it works out for him. Hopefully signing Llorente is going to really bring some changes in his life. Let's see what happens with that one. But it's looking like now that Inter don't really care too much about Olivier Giroud, and that's because we wanted too much money for the player. Now, it is kind of surprising because Inter Milan just sold Gabigol. They made about 20 million euros, and we wanted between 7.5 to 8 million euros for Giroud. Yeah, it's a bit mad. Maybe because we're Premier League fans and we've been used to seeing so much money in this league that 8 million doesn't even sound like anything to us, even though none of us have 8 million in our bank accounts, which is a funny thing. So, you know what? Maybe from that perspective, we need to appreciate that other leagues aren't as powerful as us, so they can't really spend that money recklessly. So I get that. But it looks like Tottenham could be entering the race to sign the player now that Harry Kane's out, now that it's looking like they won't get Piatek, and because they're desperate to sign a striker. And it would be quite funny if Giroud ended up in Tottenham, but playing for Arsenal, us and Spurs. Who was the last one to do something like that? Well, William Gallas. So yeah, it's pretty funny. Would I be pissed off if he signed for Spurs? I mean, not really. What can the guy really do at this point in time? You know, he wants to go to these clubs. They don't want to spend the money, or they don't want to give him the contract or the wages. It's really peak for the guy. So at this point in time, there's not much Giroud can do. And now, you guys, I'm going to end things with a final story for today, and that's regards to Dries Mertens. Now, it's coming out from ESPN again that Dries may have committed to staying at Napoli until his contract expires. Now, this is interesting because, of course, if Dries was interested, we could just put a bid in for the player now. He wouldn't cost us too much money because his contract's expiring. And I think Mertens would be a very good short-term stopgap replacement that we need for the team right now to just really boost our chances of getting a top 4 finish. But with Dries Mertens, it seems like he wants to commit his future until the end of the season. Does that leave us open for a move at the end where we can sign the player on a free transfer? Who knows, that could work out. If Willian goes, if Pedro goes, maybe the club might feel like we need some experience with our attack. We can't just rely on so many young players because, you know, it's going to take them some time and experience to really just master and hone their skills. But with Dries Mertens, a player that's been around for a long time, a player that would suit how we play, a player that already has friends at the club already, and has spoken about even signing for us one day as well, well, it seems like he could be a very smart acquisition. But the question is, for now, or for the summer, if you're asking me, I wouldn't mind. I would not mind at all. I feel like realistically, are we going to sign 2 attacking players in the summer? I'm not too sure. I think that Sancho is going to be priority number 1. Do I think that we'll sign maybe like, I don't know, like a Neres or another high potential young player alongside Sancho? I don't think so. And maybe this could pave the way for a Dries Mertens to do his thing, come here and be that perfect short-term quality that we need to really just help the young players at the club. Who knows? But you guys, on that point, I'm going to end things and wrap things up. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm EFC. This is Blue Lines TV, and I'll see you guys in a bit.